Welcome to the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable. Very excited today to talk about Arizona Metals Corporation. It is AMC on the Venture Exchange in Toronto. AMC, which is a handy little handle because people can mistake you for a lot of different things when you're AMC. I'm Rob. Over there down here is Chris Perry in the other basement apartment. Vishal up top in the far corner, living the big life. And of course, the king in the penthouse there above me is Indochina, Mr. Indochina. His name's TK. You know what? We forgot to do the arm wrestling contest before this started to find out who was going to talk first. I don't remember who won. So who actually won the arm wrestling?
Well, I like gold. So I think, Arizona Metals, gold, copper, and zinc. When we look at the charts, we'll look at a few things that happened today, but if you guys, tune into our work, I think you guys know I am a gold bug. Junior miner, I guess, we can't really call them a junior miner now since they're trading around $4. But they have two assets in the state, almost called it a province of, guess what, Arizona. And we've talked about, in previous mining shows, things that are important, right? Management that has experience and has done deals before. Jurisdiction-wise, and Arizona ranked number 2 out of 77 for investment attractiveness. You guys know I call it, the non-AK-47 countries or areas, and I'm sure Arizona's not an AK-47 zone. And cash, right? The cash position, I think you want to see a company that's cashed up. And recent news is about a bought deal financing of gross proceeds of $13.1 million. So, that's always good because that means a catalyst or that money can be used to drill, to create a catalyst and get the stock price going. Finally, location, I guess it sort of ties in with the jurisdiction, but they're in an area with past producing mines or near past producing mines, near the highway. They have the infrastructure there, and that's always important for any miners. But I have a lot more to say when we talk about the charts and stuff, so I guess we'll do that when we get there, because I think being in gold at the right time is also very important, and I think it is the right time.
Well, that was a charming and delightful foray into the opening of Arizona Metals. We go to TK, we will talk about financials.
Awesome. I think we have a situation here where they have hidden assets, but not because management isn't communicating with investors about where the assets are. It's because of accounting norms. So the company doesn't capitalize its expenses, which is it doesn't take those expenses and put them into the balance sheet. What it does is it expenses as it uses money, which is the opposite of what a lot of the other miners do. And this just reflects a loss on the income statement, but assets are being reinvested in, or drilling and exploration costs are going back into the ground. So when you look at their balance sheet, it's probably the simplest balance sheet I've ever seen. It has $27 million in cash, not including a recent financing that they just finished last week. They also have $700,000 in prepaid expenses, and they have a reclamation bond of $200,000. And this is basically, it's a performance surety bond required by the Bureau of Land Management for companies who are in the state of acquiring assets or mining projects. So it's basically just a bond showing that you're putting down a certain amount of assets into the ground because they don't capitalize the assets as well. And they have so that means they have total assets of 28 million. They have total liabilities right now of $2.26 million. This is not including the $11 million they spent last year on drilling the ground and exploration, etc. These are just not reflected in the balance sheet. Usually they are, but they're not reflected. But the market has done something spectacular here and actually given them a positive price return with 300% return in market value in the last year. So this is it's a hidden asset that the market has realized, but I still feel it hasn't fully reflected the actual value under the ground.
It's fascinating. They're Toronto-based. It's Mark Pay. He's the director, the CEO, the president, the whole nine yards. He's been in the industry for a while. Chris Perry is our guru himself. Do you want to talk about the loquacious Mr. Pay, or would you talk about this company in general, your thoughts?
Mr. Pay is a little tough to nail down for things as spurious as promotional interviews. He's busy drilling holes in the ground, it would appear, and raising buckets of money. The most recent round of financing that this group went for was about 24 million. It quickly ended up with about 36. Anytime a resource company is getting money thrown at it to the tune of 10 million more than it's asked for, that's an indication that some people have done some due diligence. This is a big boy company. It's not a little House Street pump. It's not a couple of guys that have flown over a cow paddock in Saskatchewan and decided that looks good. This is a mine in the making, or even a pair of mines in the making, serious business being done. Lots and lots of drills on the ground. You look at their news flow and it's got more numbers in it than any other company's news flow I've seen, I think, ever. It's results, 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 results. And then when there's no more results left, it's financing, financing, financing. These are the two things you kind of want to see a company doing to show that it's legit. I'll say one of the things that I'm very interested in this company about is that it's as much a copper company as a gold company. And nobody talks about copper because it's cheaper to buy by the gram, and it's not as glamorous. It's not somewhere you're going to toss your money if the dollar's under pressure. It's not something that rises when world peace isn't anywhere near. But everything that we're into right now, from the thing I'm talking to the thing that is going to host the thing I'm talking to the phone in my pocket that's going to look at the thing I'm talking to, new construction, energy metals, electric vehicles. Like, Jesus, is there anything that's actually right now a hot sector that doesn't touch at some point copper, nickel, gold? To me, it's people look at Tesla and keep saying on Twitter, "Oh, just put your money and lock it away. You'll be happy in 20 years." And they put their money into failing cannabis companies and say, "Just lock it down and don't even look at it. You'll be happy in 20 years. Go fuck yourselves. Copper. Put your money in copper right now, because you know what they're not doing is they're not picking a whole lot of it up off the ground. Yeah. Supply is always ekingly small compared to demand. The growth of demand is going to take 5 or 6 years to catch up to. You don't just flick a switch and start bringing more copper mines on. It takes time. So guys that are close are going to be really interesting. They're going to be bought at a premium. And for me, Arizona Metals is one of those. Yep. If you want to get a mine stood up, Arizona is like one of those places where you put your hand up in a crowded bar and they throw a mining permit at you. Yep. So I don't think, with the money they've raised, with the amount of it that they've put in the ground, with the fact that we can't get the CEO to have a beer with us, it's all good things to me.
And when I used to put my hand up in a bar, they'd just hand me a Crown of Coke. So that's pretty good. I get a mining permit and a Crown of Coke.
Yeah, with me, they'd just give me a phone number, but no.
Good one. Stepping her up. Let's go back to where we started.
Then I stopped going to men's bars. Anyway.
Michelle,
I actually know some. I've had drinks with some copper executives, like mining executives, and they actually have their Moscow mules.
We don't need you to air your dirty laundry.
Always the brass rail.
It's always the Moscow mule. But no, I was going to say, just backing what Chris said up. Chris said, gold, but copper doesn't get much say nowadays. I think Chris is right about the supply and demand. The two largest copper mines, one's in Chile and one's in Indonesia. One's called Escondida and one's called Grasberg. Huge mines have been, bringing up a lot of copper for a few decades, and they've had labor issues, right? They've had worker issues, people going on strike for some time. That messed up with the copper supply. Of course, you have the Chinese buying a lot. But for the future, if you're looking at green energy, electrification of the economy, copper is going to be the green metal, right? It is the green metal that's going to be used to implement a lot of this kind of stuff. So big supply and demand, I think, imbalances, some are saying, and we might need more copper projects and more copper mines, and that gets into what's clean copper and what's not clean copper. I like all metals, right? So I like gold, I like copper, and generally copper is found with gold as well, right? In the deposits there. I'm showing you guys a chart here of Arizona. TK mentioned that the market really likes it. We had a huge move up, and we've created something called a flag pattern here, which we actually broke out of on October 20th and stalled a little bit, but that makes sense because it was the Federal Reserve, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute. And then we are beginning to take off, and we had a decent close today, a 6% close today with 304,000 shares traded. And I want to show you guys quickly copper and gold. So here's the chart of copper. Very similar setup to AMC, actually, where we have a flag pattern that actually broke above. We hit highs of 480, and now we're actually retesting that trend line breakout or that flag. And I do expect to see buyers step in if they are still bullish copper, and I believe they will be, because I'll get to that in just a second here. And then, of course, gold as well, similar looking setup with the flag. We got that breakout, but this is what I'm very excited about and why I'm really big on mining right now, because gold has finally closed above 1830, which it couldn't do since July of this year. It tried 4 times, and I think this is that move a lot of people have been waiting for, and it basically has there's no more resistance now until we hit 1900. And this all happened because today we had inflation numbers come out at 6%, and inflation is now coming in the highest pace ever recorded. And you look at metals, right? You look at hard assets, and I think people are looking at gold specifically as that inflation hedge, but any metal, I think all commodities, even I look at wheat and soybeans and that kind of stuff, they're doing well, but so is uranium, so is lumber, so is nickel, so is lithium. And it's not all due to supply chain issues. I think it's this inflation trade, and I think a lot of people are going to be looking at these hard assets such as gold and even copper as well. And so if you do like, the fundamental outlook, you have that, I believe, in rising copper demand, and central banks are buying gold, I guess, so that's something. And then on the inflation side, you have this move to these hard assets and these commodities, which technically are still very cheap, right, compared to things such as technology and I guess even cryptocurrencies. But commodities are still cheap relative to everything else in the market. The chart structure is there. Again, we talked about this company with the drill results, the cash. I just think there's a lot of positives in Arizona Metals specifically.
All right, we're going around the horn, and we're going to TK first to see how much of my $7,500 you're going to spend. $7,500 times 3. Your 7,500. That's my 7,500. What do you got?
So I think analysts get a bad rep for running their businesses through models. But here's the situation of an analyst who actually has a geological background, who started with, this is Mark, by the way, the CEO, with Telegraph Gold, as well as his chairman, Paul, was also chairman of Telegraph Gold. So they have a lot of experience. They also have experience in the financial side, which has really helped them raise cash when it's needed, not when they can, which is detrimental to a company in its space with how cyclical gold can be. And their balance sheet just reflects that. It's very conservative. It's equity heavy, not debt heavy. So they don't have that credit default risk that a lot of the miners have that cause them to plummet. They just have a stockpile of cash, and they're throwing it straight into the ground. They also have, as Chris alluded to, the results coming out. So it's not just money going straight into the ground and nothing is coming out. They have results that are coming out as well. So I think half of your part is a good take. And I would wait for it, the market to take some profits, because it just made a few millionaires. And then I would add more to that part as well.
Okay. CP, how much dough?
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah, man. Look, buying stocks is all about figuring out your risk, right? What is the risk the company's going to run out of money? What's the risk that no one wants the product? They can't make the product. A bunch of guys come up with AK-47s and Jeeps. There's no risk of any of that with Arizona Metals. And they're not going to run out of money. People are throwing money at them at at a high market price. They're not going to get kicked out of Arizona for turning over rocks, because it's nothing but rocks in Arizona to turn over. They know how to get a mine up. Getting the mine up requires showing that the resource is worth it. Well, the resource is just getting filled out. Like, they're just to a point now where, it's just like a hedgehog, the amount of sticks that have been poking out of this thing. All they got to do right now is just keep drilling the right spots, keep demonstrating that, yes, there's still things here under the ground wherever we seem to look, fill out that resource, and then when time is critical on the copper front, to just go, here we go, let's go, let's start taking it out. Do we want this thing to be a gigantic mammoth operation, or do we just need it to be a small operation? That's the only question for me, is whether they're going to be able to raise enough money at a good valuation to get this thing into a giant, or whether they're happy for it just to be a mid. If at a mid, it's still going to be worth a lot more than the $400 million market cap that it is right now. So am I looking at suddenly we're not going to need gold and copper? Unlikely. For me, especially copper is going to be an attractive thing going forward. Are these guys going to suddenly forget how it's done? I don't think so. Are they going to screw up First Nations people in Arizona? Sorry to say, that's not really a consideration. It's just a risk-free deal at this point. I won't say risk-free. There's always a chance a comet could come down and blow up the office in Toronto, which could probably set things back. But likelihood is that at the very least, this thing continues to be worth $400 million. At the very best, a double isn't out of the question if they get a couple of good results, if copper really starts feeling the supply drought. A couple of big deals here and there, a little bit of news flow. There's already a heavy amount of trading volume on this, which means there's plenty of people buying in, but also trading out, right? So people see this as there's a lot of catalyst here. It's not just going to be flat. There's reason to buy in the morning and maybe sell in the afternoon, right? So it's got a good, strong base, lots of liquidity. You're not going to get stuck in it like you would, say, in a $5 million Explorer. You're not going to be at a place where some terrible government decision is going to rip the rug out from under it. All the good things are there. Throw your money in. This is a good price.
All right, that leaves it to Gold Boy. Pretty convincing argument there, Gold Boy.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as Chris, and I think, in previous shows I've gone all in Arizona, so I'm not going to change my tune. But yeah, I go all in. I like gold and silver and copper, all metals, and I think this one fits the bill. Good jurisdiction. They have the cash. Management's done it before. I like what I see here on the chart. Even if gold gets slapped around a bit, as Chris mentioned, there's still going to be good fundamentals for copper itself. And, trust me, in terms of like supply and demand and the mines coming online for copper specifically, it's, very bullish for copper in terms of that aspect, supply and demand. And yeah, I think this is going higher. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't be selling shares until it hits $10. So that's me.
There you go. Well, it was late September the last time we broke these guys down, and I think you guys are kind of still in the same boat. Can I get you, Vishal, to give me the trademark TK one of these, since you spent all of my money?
You know what started happening in late September? I'm just going to say.
Yeah. Of course.
We gave it the blessing, and up it went. I'm just saying.
There we go. Yep.
We just did a couple days ago there. We did a Vallejo, and that sucker went popping right after our little October hit as well. Just saying.
People want to know what TK thinks.
They do want to know what TK thinks. I also want to know if that room that Vishal's sitting in, is that where he has the parties with all the copper executives? So
No.
Come back and look at your artwork. All right, that's it. It is Mark Pay. It is Toronto. It is AMC on the Venture Exchange. I got him blushing. Please do your own research. There are no guarantees in life, nor are there on the markets. So
don't look under the bed.
Past performance does not guarantee future results. Thank you for checking out AMC Arizona Metals on the Equity Guru Investor Roundtable. Bing.